Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 112 of Super Switch Headz, the premier Nintendo podcast on all of the internet. My name is David Howe.
My name is Matthew Stoner.
This week, Patrick, our third host, is not here. He's on a camping trip with his family. You know, more power to him. But we are joined this week, ladies and gentlemen, by two very special guests. Very excited to introduce both of them. We have Summer Rain returning to the podcast. Welcome, Summer.
Hi, everyone.
And then returning to the podcast after a very long time, Ryan Upchurch joins the show. How you doing, Ryan?
How's it going, y'all?
Oh, going very, very well. I'm glad to have you guys on. This week, we are going to be talking all about new Pokémon Snap. That was the big Nintendo release this past week. We've all been playing it quite a bit, as I understand. I'm having a great time with it. We'll save some of that for the topic, but that is what we'll be getting all into this week. So very excited to share that with you. Other than that, we got lots of news to go over as well. The Mario Party online update, we touched on that a little bit on the last episode. A certain traveler from the future informed us about it, but we're getting into some more detail. Terry Crews was... Terry Crews somehow got Mother 3 trending on Twitter, so we'll talk about that. Lots of interviews with Furukawa, Nikkei reports, and then some non-Nintendo news in the gaming sphere as well. Very excited to get into all that. Before we get too far into the show, how's everybody doing? We having a good week?
I'm doing great. Patrick is out of here, and we're going to party this episode.
Pizza party. Everybody get drunk.
I'm ready for chaos because, the one who keeps it all together
Yeah.
is gone.
The kids rule the castle.
The kids rule the castle, and this castle is bouncy.
My city now.
I've been having a pretty good week. I actually started streaming on Twitch this past week. Summer, you could probably talk about this a little bit. We both got Genki Shadowcasts.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally was able to get mine set up and finally got a good possible streaming setup for my laptop, which has been like a 2-year struggle, me trying to figure out exactly how to get that running. But now I got it running and I'm just not touching any of the settings. So shoot me a follow on Twitch. But we might be doing some streaming pretty soon here in the future through a Switch Headz Twitch account as well. So keep an eye on that.
Things have been pretty good. I had my first indoor party with vaccinated people last week.
Okay. How'd it go? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was. I was very thirsty for social interactions. So I probably did too many bits.
Yeah.
Too many Simpsons quotes. But it was fun. It was great. It was nice to have some return to normalcy. So I feel really good about it. It was nice.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to say too, I went to Hawaii last week. That was kind of cool.
Yeah. But for like a day, right?
I was there for one day.
Short.
Yeah. No, but just you talking about vaccines and COVID and stuff reminded me of that. I've spent like 24 hours on planes, like packed with people to the brim. It's been kind of trippy, honestly.
You're very brave for that. I can't even.
You know what, Summer? You're right. I am so fucking brave. I've always thought that about myself.
I can't look at people in the eyes anymore, so much less go on planes. But
Right.
I know.
That's why you wear one mask here and one mask here.
Oh,
and it just kind of
I will
blocks
be
out
doing
the
that.
whole plane experience.
No,
and then a mask on each ear.
I'm pro mask moving forward because then it's less my face. It's good.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Everyone
But
needs
then
that.
you cover up that brilliant mustache that you got.
Oh, thank you.
Why
Thank
would
you
you
so
want to
much.
do that? Man,
Well,
Patrick is
gotta
out.
leave him wanting more.
Patrick is out. We're already spending like 10 minutes on the intro. Before we get into the news, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to do a few shout outs. We had some great feedback from our last episode, which we did episode 111 on Evolution in Games Media with Allie Baker. Allie was a great guest, wasn't she? I really enjoyed having her on. We got lots of people talking. Derek Kopswa in the Facebook group was talking about some of his favorite magazines and brought up the fact that GamePro used to do full April Fool's issues. They did one called Lame Pro. And he shared some images of that. So that was nice to see on YouTube. And Keeps Gaming, first of all, complained that we didn't give him a shout out last episode. So here you go, Ant. This is what you get.
Right for you.
And then on the Discord, Cena had said that he had so many questions for David from the future, and then he just left. See you, Space Cowboy. I don't have any contact with David from the future. He comes and goes as he sees fit. But if I happen to catch him, I'll give him your feedback. But anyway, that's about it for shout outs. Please tell your friends about this show. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple. Post a Reddit comment, because if we post on Reddit, they remove it for self-posting. So you guys post on our behalf. And then also send in listener questions. We're going to be doing segments on that. We'll be doing special episodes for listener questions. And make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel because we are doing video content now. Look at our beautiful faces here. If you're on YouTube, you already know the deal. We're good looking and we talk about video games. So subscribe for all of that in the future. But I guess other than that, let's get to the news, right?
Let's get after it.
Let's get after it. All right, Patrick. I hope you're enjoying this intro. We touched, like we said, David from the future touched on this a bit in the last episode, but the Mario Party, Super Mario Party for the Switch, after 2.5 years, randomly was given an online mode. And this is great. A lot of people have been asking for this. I just don't think anybody expected it after 2.5 years. Did any of you guys have a chance to try this out?
I mean, it would have been great if it came out like on the onset of something where everyone was inside for over a period of a year. Maybe, I don't know.
Right.
What global event could have caused that? But
I mean, it's definitely weird. And this is the only update. There aren't any new boards or anything like that. It basically just adds a very bare bones online functionality. Super Mario Party is developed by ND Cube, which is the same developer as Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics. So, I mean, I think that there's something to be said that, in April of last year, that's when Clubhouse Games came out. They supported that for a little bit. They got a few like kind of balance patches and updates. So I think maybe that's why it was delayed a little bit, but certainly you wouldn't think it would last this long to get something out. I don't know. I've been hearing some kind of speculation on just the idea that there might be another Mario Party game coming out soon that has online functionality, and then kind of in an attempt to beta test it, they put it into the old game as well, which I think has some clout to it. And I think that's my headcanon theory right now as to why they did this. But either way, I also haven't had a chance to test this out yet. I also don't own the game, so I don't really know exactly how I would. But I do have Matt's copy on my Switch, so maybe I'll go online as you, Matt, sometime and see how it works.
Yeah, please. Just I can't play with you, but I know Lee, whatever. Lee would play. Lee is the only person who actively asks, "Hey, can we play Super Mario Party?" And I say,
"Right,
yeah, okay."
Well, then let's do it. I'll use Jeremy's account is also on my Switch, so I'll just log in as Jeremy, and that should work just fine. Sorry, Jeremy, if you're listening. His dog ripped up my vaccine card, so we're not on talking terms right now. Anyway,
I understand.
Moving on. So that's fun. Don't disconnect, because if you disconnect, everybody has to disconnect and the game ends, even if you're in the last round. Anyway, moving on. Miitopia got a demo that I think came out before our last episode aired. But I did actually try this one out. Did anybody else try out the Miitopia demo, or was it just me?
I'm planning on it. I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah.
I downloaded it.
Did any of you guys play Miitopia when it was on the 3DS? Miitopia is it's kind of like a very bare bones RPG that stars whatever Miis you have on your system, right? I wanna like this game because I love Miis, and I think Miis are an excellent idea, and I want to see more Miis, and I don't like that Miis aren't nearly as involved in the Switch's user interface. Yeah.
So I'm seeing a lot of talk about like I want this game to do well, so it sends the message that we want, more involvement from Miis, because what I really loved on the 3DS was Tomodachi Life, which was just like the simulator, like it was just a drama simulator basically for Miis, and just like seeing who you knew that was gonna get married or cheat and have kids, and it was like that's what I want. So I need this game to do well so we can get that one.
Well, yeah, and Tomodachi Life felt like a better use of the Miis than just kind of slapping them into like a kind of half RPG, right?
Yeah,
like
I get that.
it was more fun because they had more personalities and there was more interaction in that way.
Right.
Either way, yeah. I mean, after having played the demo, I don't know that I'll necessarily pick this up. Something that was in the demo though, and which will be in the full game, is like a really, really robust Mii creator in this game with even more options than the Mii creator from the Wii U or the Wii or the 3DS or anything like that. So that's kind of cool. I'm already seeing like crazy designs for Miis online that you could never make before. You can have like wigs and makeup and all this crazy stuff. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, we'll see. I definitely want them to port Tomodachi Life.
I love that stupid game.
Yeah. I just more 3DS games in general,
Some of the crazy custom Miis are like like Mr. Clean or the words Super Mario like spelled
just
out
like across
as the
his face.
And then my favorite one is Garfield.
Oh yeah.
America's favorite comic. Come on.
America's favorite lasagna disposal mechanism. Anyway, I think that's it for Miitopia. Anybody have anything else they want to say about Miitopia? We'll be doing an episode on Miis and Miitopia sometime soon, so we'll be getting more into that as the time progresses. But let's move on to the next news item. Terry Crews recently was trending on Twitter after he tweeted in, I believe, all caps, "Localize Mother 3." This is the second or third time recently that the Mother series has been kind of in the spotlight on Twitter and has been trending. Reggie Fils-Aimé recently tweeted a joke about how he's had the localization of Mother 3 like in his closet for forever, and he like keeps putting it off whenever anybody brings it up. So there's been a lot of smoke around Mother 3 recently. Do you guys think there's anything to this?
It's on fire, baby. Terry Crews says localize Mother 3, but really what he means is release it, because we already know it's got to be localized at some point.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's fan translations out there. And the fan translation patch actually just got a big update like to that version, which is cool. But there is also like a lot of kind of weird content in Mother 3 that like might not fly these days. Some of it having to do with like gender identity, which is kind of a touchy subject. Some of it having to do with just like very adult themes of like death and stuff like that. And that's kind of been cited as reasons that Nintendo maybe didn't want to bring Mother 3 to the West.
It's not like they don't publish other games that deal with that, though. I don't see an issue here.
I don't personally see an issue either. I mean, Nintendo makes M-rated games, you know what I mean? Or they publish M-rated games anyway. So it's like, there's definitely, I don't think Mother 3 would be rated M either. But it's just, I do kind of understand they're a bit between a rock and a hard place where if they just release the game as is, they might not be able to release it for the rating that they want. And if they alter the game, the fans would be really mad. Right. So we'll see. Anyway, I think we should all raid Reggie Fils-Aimé's house and get that localized version of Mother 3 and see if we can find it. That's not a call to action.
Well, when Terry speaks, the world listens. So Nintendo will be moving shortly.
It's just nice to see someone like Terry Crews.
He's gone in full gamer mode.
Gamer mode.
He's been streaming Danganronpa lately.
You love to see it.
I know. Like, I saw this tweet and I was like, first Danganronpa, now this. Like, okay.
Yeah. This is the post-COVID world that we're all going to have to get used to, I think. So we'll just get used to it. Anyway, cool to see. Moving on. Fast Company did an interview with Furukawa, the president of Nintendo, which touched on a lot of stuff. Did anybody have a chance to read this article? I breezed through it. Basically, a lot of what he was talking about was Nintendo's recent approach to kind of their kind of marketing strategies, right? And the way that they've been releasing lots of different stuff and doing lots of franchising, getting into theme parks, getting into movies, getting into mobile games and all this kind of stuff. That was a big part of what the article was really about. Some notable stuff though is when he talked about working with Illumination Studios on the upcoming Super Mario Brothers movie. First of all, he said Miyamoto is like heavily involved in the production of this movie, which could not be said for the 1993 live action adaptation of Super Mario Brothers. Nintendo was very hands off, and I think they learned their lesson from that. But Miyamoto is apparently, heavily consulting on the movie, which is good to hear as a Mario fan. Miyamoto also famously said that he doesn't think games need story, so we'll see how it goes. But I think overall that's a good thing. I'd rather them not minify it. Do you have something, Matt?
Yeah, I think this article also touches on, Illumination's, creation of the Super Mario movie, but it also talks that they're creating other pieces of media. They don't talk about what intellectual property they're using, but that there may be other Illumination developed media, like a cartoon or a movie.
Right. Yeah. I think I don't know if he specified Illumination, but at least he did specify animated stuff and how they're interested in pursuing animation, which I think makes a ton of sense.
We're getting that F-Zero anime.
There is an F-Zero anime.
I know great. It's coming back.
He Falcon punches someone into the sun, I believe.
Really?
Yeah. It's like I think that's where the show ended. They were like, we can't really do any better than this. So we're like, all right. But I'd love to see that come back. Yeah, I mean, as somebody who works in animation, I'd love to see way more Nintendo IPs in animation. I think it's a great avenue for them. And I think something like an animated Zelda movie or show, I feel like would be an easier sell and probably better to watch than like a live action Zelda show. Personally, that's just kind of my take on it. Next up, Nikkei recently reported, Nikkei's Japanese publication, kind of got a hot scoop that Nintendo is trying to ramp up their production on the Switch this upcoming fiscal year. And the word on the street is that they're aiming for 30 million units sold of the Nintendo Switch. Now, we don't know exactly how many units of the Switch that they sold in the past fiscal year. We will actually find that out this week. I believe Thursday, Nintendo is releasing a financial report with a lot of their 2020 financials. So we'll see exactly how many there. I think a lot of people are estimating around the 28 million mark for units on the Switch, which is a massive number. So if this 30 million unit number is to be believed, that kind of begs a few questions, right? I think chief among them is, do they plan on having any more like huge earth-shattering game releases like Animal Crossing was that really pushed systems last year? I would say that's going to be really hard to beat. But I think the other thing is, is this kind of soft proof that they're having some sort of hardware revision coming out if they're expecting that many sales? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I certainly won't be the first person to think this, much less on this podcast, but this seems that the games industry is taking a bet that, the boom of the game industry in last year from the pandemic is not something that's, a blip in the radar, that it's here to stay, and that production, they can bet on it in the future. So that's really exciting. We'll have to see that in the upcoming year or so, but really excited to see where it goes.
Yeah. I mean, if Terry Crews is any indication, it seems
exactly
gaming is here to stay.
Terry's in the fold, so everyone's moving forward.
Yeah.
You mentioned another game that would be like a system seller, and the only other game that really comes to mind that I see it being like as prominent as Animal Crossing would be something like if they finally put The Sims on the Switch. That is another like big casual market game that like in various like groups that I'm in online are people saying like when people ask the question like, why haven't you gotten into Animal Crossing yet, a big response usually is, well, I'm still playing The Sims.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And that's what's taking all my time instead of playing Animal Crossing. So while I'm personally not a big fan of The Sims, it's just not something I ever got into. Like a lot of my friends who are more casual gamers love The Sims, and that's the thing that they sink all their time into. So I'd personally love to see that, just to see another big, boom.
No, I think that's an excellent point. And I think that's something that we didn't even really touch on is, I think whenever we think of like system sellers, we think of Nintendo first party games, but there's been all those rumblings about Microsoft and Nintendo teaming up. I think if they
and since Microsoft and EA are like,
right. I think if they put, the Master Chief collection on the Switch, I think that you would have a lot of Xbox and like shooter game fans picking up Switches to play those games mobile. Game Pass obviously would sell Switches. I think just, look at all the people that buy like really expensive controller clips for their phones just to do the xCloud stuff. Like the Switch is a no-brainer for that, right? So
Yeah.
I think Nintendo sees or hopefully sees the value in having a platform like that on their system. But I think ultimately this is probably just, pointing towards the Switch Pro, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll hear a lot more about that on Thursday. So keep an eye out. There will be a lot of news coming in about Nintendo's financials this week, and we'll be covering that on next week's show. We've got a article here, or actually PlayStation put out a post about this. Matt, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. Sony announced a partnership with Discord. It'll come out early next year. They don't go into too many details of what it will encompass, but it will likely be two main things. Is Discord will show what games you're playing. If you're playing online from a Sony PlayStation, it'll show that Matthew or David are playing Fortnite. But more importantly,
as you do,
we all love Fortnite here. We're a Fortnite podcast. But more importantly, people in Sony indicate that there will be integration with Discord chat into the PlayStation Network. How that'll work with an application or maybe a phone app is to be determined, but there will likely be some Discord chat integration with PlayStation.
That's pretty cool. Definitely not what we saw coming. I mean, we were talking last week about fucking Microsoft buying Discord, right? Mm-hmm. So it's very interesting to see kind of Sony swoop in with this partnership. I don't think that this is Sony purchasing a stake in Discord. I think it's just more of a partnership, as I understand it.
Totally. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the timing is interesting. And what's happening in the background with Sony is Microsoft has this big lead up with Game Pass and PC gaming and releasing their games on console and PC. And Sony is a little bit behind on releasing some of their console games on PC. There's always big rumors of Bloodborne coming to PC. Always huge rumors. Right. But I think this is one way that Sony is trying to appeal to PC gamers by integrating the communication between PC gamers and console gamers.
Yeah. I'd love to see more integration with all the platforms. I think especially Nintendo could really use this. You know what I mean? I mean, they don't have anything, at least,
no, they think they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like, hey, use the device that also has Discord on it. Yeah, it's like, no, I'm good. I'll just use that one. But yeah, I think something integrated on the system itself would be amazing. But I think it's cool to see. Anyway, moving on to some more non-Nintendo news. It seems Epic has acquired ArtStation. And Matt, you might have a little bit more insight into this one as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're unfamiliar with ArtStation, I don't know. Are you guys familiar with what ArtStation is?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a place where artists can kind of release their work. A lot of people are in the game industry or the film industry, or TV, who want to collaborate with other artists. And there's like lessons and plans. It's like a community for artists in various industries. But Epic, as David said, as you said, acquired ArtStation. And I think this speaks to volumes of what Epic is doing. Over the past year, Epic bought ArtStation, Tonic Games, the developer of Fall Guys, Rad Game Tools, and Hypersense. And Hypersense does like motion capture. So, like, to me, when I hear this, is Epic is behind the scenes creating a huge ecosystem, not only to create games, but also for the people who make those games. And this is just one part to integrate their community of developers kind of together to start using the Unreal Engine.
Yeah, and I think we're starting to see Unreal branch out far beyond just gaming as well. Obviously, we're seeing, I think, The Mandalorian and a lot of the Disney shows like use real-time Unreal Engine environments for backdrops and stuff like that. And so I think, definitely we're going to start to see Epic becoming even more of a worldwide company outside of the realm of games.
Yeah, I think Epic has the potential to be one of the big players with like huge corporations like Microsoft and Sony and Disney and Apple. There'll be another huge pillar in all of those industries.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Epic, moving on to the next bit of news. As we all know, that big lawsuit or big court case between Apple and Epic has been going on recently over microtransactions and Fortnite and the Apple App Store and payments and stuff like that. And throughout all of that, some internal documents have come to light from Epic, and one of which included Samus Aran in potential characters that they would want to be putting into Fortnite. This has been something that we reported on this show. I say reported like we're fucking a news outlet. We broke the news. But this had been talked about and kind of speculated because, obviously Kratos and Master Chief were both put into Fortnite. And then everybody kind of thought that it would make sense if Samus was added in and sort of the bounty hunter group. And it appears, at least, that Epic was considering adding Samus, or maybe wanted to put Samus in, but unfortunately maybe couldn't get the rights, or Nintendo didn't want to play ball. Either way, it's pretty interesting stuff in here. Would you guys have fired up Fortnite if Samus Aran was playable?
I mean, as the official spokesman of Super Switch Headz, the premier Fortnite podcast, yes, absolutely.
It would definitely entice me more. I've actually, one of my roommates really got into Fortnite recently, or has gotten into Fortnite recently. So, it's free.
Yeah. I played a lot of Fortnite like when it first came to Switch, and I actually really enjoyed it. It's a very fun game. That having been said, it's like multiple seasons have passed me by, and I just haven't like touched it since. I kind of want to, but I also know it's like a totally different game from when I played it last, and I'm a little like scared.
I just remind myself that, literal 7-year-olds are playing it, so I probably can.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
I'm only logging on for the features. The last one I kind of really put some time in Fortnite was to get the Predator skin. So Samus is right up my alley. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's cool. I mean, there were also other skins included in this document that haven't seen release. So it's not like, oh, Samus was in this document, so she's definitely coming out. I mean, we saw they had Snake Plissken skins. John McClane from Die Hard was a skin, and none of those have made it into the game either. So I think this was kind of maybe a dream document of stuff that they wanted to put into the game, or talks that they were having that maybe weren't finalized. But either way, it's interesting to see some of this coming to light. Moving on to some Microsoft news. We'll go through these quickly. Looks like Halo Infinite's been showing some updates recently. There's been lots of rumors that they're going to be having a big blowout preview at E3. But can you go over some of the recent stuff that has been posted about Halo Infinite recently, Matt?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Halo Infinite will support crossplay with PC and console. So that's a huge thing. So it'll detect whether you're playing on a controller and only match you up with other controller people. And if you're playing on mouse and keyboard, Xbox Series S and Series X supports mouse and keyboard. So if you're playing mouse and keyboard on console, you'll play against mouse and keyboard on PC.
That more games should do that.
I was just thinking.
Really smart.
I need Pac-Man 99 to do that for handheld and Pro Controller.
No, you don't.
I thought you meant you wanted mouse and keyboard controls in Pac-Man 99.
Oh my God. No.
I could see the WASD, I guess, but I don't know what you would do with the mouse.
No.
Just select people to target, I guess. That's wild.
Yeah. Giving me 20 ideas.
Yeah. Well, hey, Nintendo, we know you're listening. Please put those into the game.
Let's get mouse and keyboard support on Super Mario Party Online. Let's just. Crazy.
I am excited about Halo Infinite, man. It sounds like the multiplayer is still going to be free to play, and they just dropped Xbox Live Gold.
Yep.
Necessity for free to play games. So just anybody with an Xbox is just. Or I guess on PC too, on the Windows Store. Anybody could just play online Halo Infinite for free, which is pretty awesome.
I know. Yeah, the multiplayer will be free. Cross-play, as we mentioned, cross-saves. It'll support that too. And if you're a rich boy, it also supports ultra-wide screen.
Oh, yeah. Let's get those monitors. I have that hooked up to my Switch right now. Speaking of more Microsoft trying to be the good guy news, Microsoft lowered the percentage of take that they take off of game sales on the Windows Store. I believe before it was somewhere in the 30% range. I might be incorrect there, but they lowered it to 12%, which is very enticing for game developers who are wanting to put their games up on certain platforms. As I understand, I believe Steam takes 30% of all game sales, and I think they have like a tiered system. If you hit X number of units sold, it kind of goes down to 20%, something like that. But and then I know Sony and the Xbox currently also take 30% for hosting on their services. So this is good. I mean, it's going to make people want to probably advertise the Windows Store more. And I think there were rumblings as well about them wanting to lower it on Xbox, but I don't think that they did. I find this to be pretty interesting and in a kind of a good way to, funnel more people, more developers towards publishing on your platforms. What do you think about this, Matt?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, lowering kind of the money that you pay towards Microsoft to develop PC games and distribute it on the Microsoft Store. Yeah, it totally makes sense. I think the timing's interesting because Epic and Apple are in court right now over this very same thing about being a walled garden and costs for developers and fees to use these stores or stores across consoles and PCs. I do think it's interesting, but I think it's a good thing for developers to pay less money to buy in.
Very good. Very good. Moving on. Monolith Soft recently opened their Kyoto office, which is actually, I think, in the same building as Nintendo's Kyoto office. And they are expanding quite a bit. I think they're trying to hire like 50 to 100 new employees, which begs the question, what the fuck is Monolith Soft working on that they need so many people? We know they're working on Breath of the Wild 2, or at least they're helping with that game, as they did with Breath of the Wild 1. They kind of co-developed that game with Nintendo. Do you think that they're hiring for Breath of the Wild 2? Do you think this means that Breath of the Wild 2 is further out than we thought? Or do you think that this might be some unannounced game or even a Xenoblade game?
Please, Ryan and Summer, only say nice things about Monolith Soft and the properties they create.
Oh, I was going to say, I'd like to think that this means that whatever project is coming after Breath of the Wild 2, that's an indication of. I don't think it's that, because I don't think that game is that far out.
I'd like to think it's not.
Squints really hard at the studio. I don't think it's that far out.
Look, I'm a fan of the Breath of the Wildification of all video games.
Yeah.
I know we like people complain about the upcoming Pokemon becoming Breath of the Wild and having that open play environment. Great. It's great.
I'm not mad about that.
Nope.
Yeah, absolutely.
it.
It's fantastic. I love to play that. So by all means, continue Monolith Soft.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a good point there, Ryan. I mean, they are in the same building as Nintendo, and everybody kind of, that's what everybody wants now. It's like the Breath of the Wild of Mario or the Breath of the Wild of Wario Land or whatever.
Oh,
right?
could you imagine?
Yeah, like an open world Wario Land where you can climb
Wario Land
anything. You can fart on anything.
Randomly turns into a mini game and
yeah. But either way, yeah, I think you're onto something there. I think that they could be kind of tapping them to help out on more franchises as well, which would be kind of interesting. I bet it would be very interesting to work for Monolith Soft right now. They're really getting to work on some of the best franchises, and it makes me wonder too if they're working with Game Freak at all on this Pokemon Legends Arceus game. Arceus? It's Arceus, right?
So they want it to be Arceus. It was originally Arceus, but the UK said you can't say that. That's a swear here.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because I always love to cite a piece of media. There's like a clip from House of him, talking, goes into a weird tangent about Arceus, which was which happened, before the whole we have to say Arceus thing.
Right.
So I like to reference.
I actually
that.
I watched like a super cut of like all the times House is playing Game Boy on House, and it was fun to watch.
So I still say Arceus, but they want you to say Arceus.
I'm glad you said that, Summer, because I'm Team Arceus all the way. I can't quit it. I can't quit it.
Pleasant company, yeah.
You know who agrees with you? I don't know if he's my nephew. What's your cousin's kid to you? Just some kid I know.
Your second.
Anyway, I was talking to some kid I know.
Yeah.
It's just some child. No, he's actually a what is he? He's fucking, I don't know. He's like some Nordic kid of some nature. Anyway, listen, that's beside the point. But he also pronounced it Arceus. He like wanted to show me his Pokemon card collection. He's like, and this one is Arceus, and he is the god of Pokemons. And it was just very adorable. I really enjoyed that. I'll never forget that. I watched Coco with that kid like 3 times. It's a long family trip.
We need to have him on for the episode for that game when it releases.
Yeah, he's not Finnish, but his name is Finn. Which is why I always want to say that he's Finnish, but he is in fact Nordic. He's Norwegian. He's a Nord. Anyway, speaking of Pokemon, let's move on to the last bit of news that's going to lead us into the main topic, which is just the Pokemon Snap reviews. It's been getting really good reviews, other than the fact that it's getting review bombed apparently on Metacritic. But you guys know my position on that. I'm not going to rant about that now because we're already going over a little bit. But reviews are great. I think it's at about a 86. Am I wrong on Metacritic? Someone pull that up for me. But yeah, it's in the mid to high 80s on Metacritic. It's doing really well. I think the consensus is that this is the game that the fans who have been waiting for this game wanted, and it's good for newcomers. But, we can save that for the topic, right? We can give our impressions on it as we get into it. Any thoughts on the review bombing or the critical consensus on Pokemon Snap before we take a break? No, I think we're good. Anyway, folks, that's going to do it for the news section. Thanks for bearing with me as I read off the news items. I was actually kind of nervous about this before the show. I think I did all right. If ever you were thinking to yourself, man, I wish David talked even more on this show. Well, this is the episode for you. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after this break, and we'll talk all about our impressions of Neo Pokemon Snap. And we're back. Welcome. I hope you guys enjoyed that 5-second break. For us, it was a few minutes. Anyway. We're back. See, this is why I don't host. This is why Patrick should be on every episode. We love you, buddy. We hope you're not getting stung by a bunch of sticky bees.
Patrick, what are you doing right now? Come back.
Yeah. I think he's, he's probably just he's already home already. And he's like, I should have just done the fucking podcast. Because he knows we're burning it to the ground. Anyway, we're back from the break. I could just edit all that out. Anyway, we're back and we are talking all about new Pokemon Snap, the newest side game in the Pokemon franchise, which is out on the Nintendo Switch. Just a little bit about Pokemon Snap before we get into the discussion. Obviously, this is a 22-year sequel. It's been a long time, since 1999 when the original Pokemon Snap came out. I loved that game when I was a kid. I don't know about you guys. Came out right at the right time for me. I was way into the N64 at the time. I loved Pokemon, and I thought it was so cool to see them not only just in 3D, but kind of just roaming out in the world, right? Hanging out on the lips of volcanoes and shit. Pokemon Snap was one of my favorite games as a kid. And honestly, I think it was one of the games that kind of jump-started my interest in photography and taking pictures and stuff like that. So I really love Pokemon Snap. I was very excited for this game.
Me too. I have tons of history with Pokemon Snap. I was working at Blockbuster when they had the kiosks at Blockbuster. And when the Nintendo retail representative would come in to replace the photo paper, I was like, man, that's got to be the coolest ass job ever, just replacing Pokemon Snap Station. I don't know. I was a teenager and I wanted to work for Nintendo.
Yeah. Cool. Was it Nintendo reps who did that, or was it probably not?
No, I don't think so. They hired some third party to replace all the printer paper.
It'd be funny if Shigeru Miyamoto himself replaced every bit of printer paper in every Pokemon Snap station.
It was him taking over all Western America. Then Eastern was Iwata.
Yeah, very good, very good. Rest in peace. Did you guys play Pokemon Snap when you were younger as well?
I was 7 at the time, so you can only imagine how transcendental of an experience Pokemon Snap was for me. And I don't want to give you a sneak peek on my review of the new Pokemon Snap, but the biggest problem is that I'm not 7 now. But
prove it.
It's the mustache on the man's face, man.
Thanks.
It's not a 7-year-old's mustache.
It's 2 kids in a trench coat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, that's cool. We'll get into your thoughts on the new one here in a second.
Yeah, I'll save it. I just, but like, yeah, I mean, incredible game. To your point, gaming experience for myself. There's somewhere in the depths of my parents' basement is like a camera snap. What's the temporary cameras, like the single-use cameras you could use?
Disposable.
Of the disposable cameras.
The disposable
right after Polaroid.
cameras, right.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
it this one?
I wish. But there's a picture of me posing next to the credit scene of Pokemon Snap because that was the first game I ever like really finished.
Oh wow!
And so,
well, it's not. You could beat that game in
me.
like 2.5 hours. So yeah.
I mean, it was a matter
not
of
to
months for me,
downplay
but
your accomplishments as a child.
I was 7.
Just to rewind a little bit, if you're listening to the podcast version of this, Summer showed a disposable Pokemon camera.
Yeah, I've actually
beautiful.
got because this came
I think
out,
I think I
around the
might
same
have that as
time.
well somewhere
Mhm.
at my parents' house. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely bought a fuck ton of Pokemon merch back then. Summer, you played it when you were a kid?
Yeah. So since we're all age dropping, so I was 8 when it came out, and
Very good.
so I didn't have an N64. So this was like a way for me to attempt to make friends with someone that my mom was like, oh, they like Pokemon, you should play at their house. But you guys talked about misinformation on the last episode. And I was thinking about that related to this because and this is why I had a hard time making friends because of how I was. This kid was like, oh, and Mew at the end, if you hit it the right way, it evolves into Mewtwo. And I remember thinking, I literally said to that kid, I was like, well, then it's not a real Pokemon game because Mew doesn't evolve into Mewtwo.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I didn't get to go to their house anymore because I was
Yeah.
mean, apparently. But
That's like when you go over to like the Christian kid's house and you're like, yeah, but can God make a boulder so big that he can't lift it? You know? And they're like, you're not allowed over here anymore.
yeah. So then because I, didn't have an N64, I let myself buy it in the virtual console on the Wii.
Right.
So that was, a way to play it then.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And I think something that speaks, we're all talking about how when we were kids, we loved this game and things that I've been hearing from people who are new to the franchise that didn't play the game the first time is like, man, what would kids even like this game? Wouldn't they get bored with it? Isn't it just like taking pictures of things and blah, 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 blah. But I think that's the simplicity of the game. And we're just talking about like the core kind of mechanics of the game as it is. Like, it just leads to so much like imagination and creativity. And like, and it's just the stuff that kids are great at, right? Is like finding little moments and things, right? And so I think kids, would love this new game as well for that reason.
Which is why I think, the new one is still really good.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and get into it then. Like I said, this new game has come out after 22 years of fans asking for a re-release. Totally passed up the Wii U, by the way, which it would have been completely incredible on.
That was my first thought with the Wii.
Yeah, here it is. It's developed by Bandai Namco, who also did Pokken Tournament. And the game, I'm just gonna say right now, I love it. I'm having a great time with this game. I think it's fantastic. It's pretty much exactly what I wanted out of the game. It's just kind of my initial impression. I'm not probably as far as some of the other people on this podcast today. I have been peeping y'all's Photodex scores in my friends tab, and you guys are all definitely a bit ahead of me. But from what I've played so far, I've been really enjoying the game. What are y'all's initial impressions of it?
It's something I'm always chasing, and it's recapturing that moment of you're playing the original Blue and Red, you're playing Ruby, you're playing original Pokemon Snap, as that spirit of Pokemon where you're in the world and you're imagining it yourself. I mean, obviously the Switch is doing some of the imagination for you, but that's what it's all about, is to be in the ecosystem of Pokemon, and it's all around you. And they did such a lovely job of portraying that. Every run is interesting, even if you're trying to capture one moment of it. I put some time into it. I wanted to have an informed opinion for this podcast, but that being said, I don't feel like I'm blowing through the game. There's plenty to do, which was my main
Right.
concern, was that, you know, at the end of the day, am I playing a baby game that I can just like the original blow through in 2.5 hours?
Right.
Absolutely not. It masters the Pokemon formula of, you know, if you're a child, if you're, you know, someone very casual, you can play through that game and enjoy it. If you're someone very hardcore, you can find something to obsess about. In this case, the score, you know, what picture score, filling out your photo decks, going online. There's all these features. I think they did a masterful job of doing this. I'm incredibly impressed for what Game Freak's putting out. I mean, I can't say enough about it so far. I'll find out more, but I can't say enough about it so far.
Yeah, I love that it's a technical sequel. Like I love that it's technically like what comes like that Todd aged with us. Right.
Spoiler alert: Todd's in the game.
Okay, sorry. It comes like an hour in.
No, I know. It's not. I think it's fine.
I think it's a super cute nod to it, like acknowledging the first game, and then right, that he's like, you know, the same age as like us that played it when we were, you know, the age that he was in the first game. But yeah, it's just so I've always been a really big fan of anything that the Pokemon Company does to showcase Pokemon outside of the traditional battling.
Yes.
And like the whole like gym battles and Elite Four, like anything outside of that. So like when they started introducing contests, I loved that. And even though games like Hey You Pikachu and Pokemon Channel are not good games, I still love them because they did the whole let's show Pokemon in an environment outside of battling, which is why I love this game, because Pokemon are just hanging out. They're not inherently like battle driven either in the wild. They're just hanging out. And I adore that. And the whole online functionality, like editing photos and posting them. Yeah. Just really, really that I could just do that. You know, I could log in and just edit my photos and post them for an hour instead of taking any more photos.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's funny you brought up the Todd thing. It really is like when Hollywood does like those 30-year sequels now, like Blade Runner 2049 or something. Literally what this is. Yeah, it's just the actors are like older. It's and Todd got kind of hot too, right? Am I alone? I think
no, Todd's very hot. Again, as a redhead around Todd's age, I'm like, I just was like aspiring to be Todd, and and I continue to aspire to be Todd.
I love it.
But yeah, it's one of the.
I mean, David, I appreciate that you think that the new Pokemon Snap is Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah, it's the Blade Runner 2049 of Pokemon games. Certainly. Yeah.
I love it. I will say one thing is I had difficulty getting into this game. It is very simple. And it asks you to really slow down to enjoy it. And I switched to this game after I play Halo pretty frequently and played Ori in the Will of the Wisps. And playing this game was really difficult for me because I just like wanted to run or like move your vehicle to go faster. And like, I was like, where's the action? Get past these menus. But I think it reminded me the first time that I watched Joe Pear Talks with You, which is a very simple comedy show that I love so much. But it's so simple in its comedy that it's wildly different from something like Tim and Eric, which are what, the internet culture is used to. And I think the simplicity of new Pokemon Snap, when I kind of got used to the flow, that asks me to slow down to enjoy the world, just to take fucking pictures is like cool. And a game like this can exist in this time is for a popular property is really cool. And I'm really enjoying it so far.
Yeah, totally. And I really agree with you on that point where it's like a Zen experience playing this game. Like when I was a kid, I was like super hyped to play it. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm getting all these angles and shit. And like now it's like a really relaxing experience. You know what I mean? And it's like, I really find myself like, parsing through my photos and like really deciding which one I want to present. This might be jumping forward a little bit, but I love that they've added the idea of there being 4 categories for every Pokemon so that not only do you have to make the decision on like, oh, is this better than the last one I took? But then it's also like, do I want to submit this one that I know is better in the last category I got for this Pokemon? Or do I want to put that to the side and then maybe gain a small amount of points for a shitty picture, but I know I'll get it because I don't have them in the in that star category, right? So it's like it kind of adds a little bit of like, you know, a little bit more decision making to it. I don't want to say strategizing, you know what I mean? Because I don't know if it's really that deep of a strategic experience, but it's like, but it does add a little bit of an element that wasn't there in the first game.
I would say it's strategic, but like almost on a personal level, because you're making like artful choices that are you know, specific to yourself. Like if there's a shot that I almost got and I'm not necessarily submitting it, I will do the re-snap feature. Yeah. And what I really love about that is being able to adjust the brightness then when I go in and then I recapture the angle that I want. And I'm like, oh, this is two blossoms dancing cutely together. I'm going to make it a little bit brighter so I can do that whole like cottagecore aesthetic that all the Animal Crossing fans like. The
white lace aesthetic.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So it's almost like, to me, it's strategic in that sense of like, personally, I'm doing things that are, you know, appealing to myself and not necessarily like what the game wants. Yeah.
And I think that speaks to some of that, like, the slower pace Zen aspect of it, right? Because it's like, yeah, it's funny that you're like, you want to be strategic on whether you want to do it for points or whether you just want to do it because it looks good to you, you know? Like that's not something I really think about in other games, you know, but I do in this game. And it's like, yeah, I'm really playing it. It's like a game that you really play to like enjoy rather than like play to beat. In a big way, although I think you can play it in that way as well, of course, you know, if you're chasing the score and stuff like that. But yeah, I find that interesting. When you were talking about the resnap feature, maybe we could talk about that for a second, because I do love that quite a bit, because I think one of the big things that really frustrated me, even about the original Pokemon Snap, is that aesthetically, like, I'm a big like rule of thirds fan when it comes to like framing and photography. Yeah. And I've also always been a big fan of like negative open space, right? Like I like putting my subjects over to the side of the frame and have them kind of like looking towards open space, because it kind of gives this air of like, oh, they're thinking about something or they're looking at something. You know what I mean? It's kind of a thing I like in photography. And both in this game and in the original one, the professor's like, you know what makes a good picture? When it's right in the fucking middle of the frame, like a Wes Anderson movie. You know?
Get it as like, big as possible, right in the middle.
Right. And so it's like, and so that's always been a little frustrating to me. But I think with the resnap feature, then at least you can still frame for that. And then it's almost like you're shooting raw in the camera, right? Or you're shooting at like a higher resolution and you know you're going to crop, so you have more like freedom in like the edit to like kind of make the actual composition how you want it to be. I just like that basically if you stick it in the middle, you'll get the most points for it. But then if, you know, the actual subject is really good and you want to frame that in a better way, you can easily do that afterwards with the resnap feature. And I really appreciate that. Although I do wish you could do a resnap after the initial batch. You know what I mean?
So like, you have to be like aware of it and go in and do it.
Yeah, because they like split up like filters and framing and editing versus like brightness and zoom and like movement, right? Like those are kind of, so you have to kind of like think ahead in order to do that. But for somebody who likes the actual like photos and the output, it's nice to have that feature at least.
I want to go back to Matt's point real quick about, you know, the pace, or we were all talking about it, but I think that like the Joe Pera allegory was really good in terms of that, what he did for TV, this game is doing for me for video games, of that, you know, what's outrageous about it is the de-escalation of pace, of you know, of mood, everything like that. Because my brain is so fried from escalation that this is just, I savor this. And I've learned to enjoy it. So I mean, I think you could say there's a million micro moments in Pokemon Snap that you could say you can keep the pace up, but overall the vibe is just it's so relaxing. It's not what you're getting from, you know, a battle royale of any sort.
Pokemon Snap 99.
I need to like fix my I need to fix my brain a little bit so that I can enjoy the battle royale.
Right.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Oh, totally.
I agree with you, Ryan. What you were saying, and I think of it like a theme park. If you're going from something like, Tower of Terror at Disney World, which is like high octane, super exciting, super fun, and then go to Haunted Mansion, which is just a dark ride and it's like super chill. And many people love Haunted Mansion because it's like you get to spend a lot of time in the world and you get to see all of the characters, and every nook and cranny is kind of filled out with stuff. And this kind of reminds me of that experience. We're kind of take it slow.
That's a really good comparison, actually. Yeah. Also, Chris McKeever loved that portion of the show right now.
Yeah. Let's say his name Disney again. Chris McKeever. Chris McKeever.
Yeah. Always nice. Yeah. You say him 3 times, he pops up in our webcams. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about the gameplay. Do you guys is it too grindy to you? Because I mean, there's you're playing these levels over and over again, and you're raising levels. You're playing the stages over and over again, and you're raising your own level, which makes kind of new interactions with the Pokemon. The Pokemon become more comfortable around you if you have a higher level in that area. And then there's also, of course, the night versions of the stages. Mm-hmm. Are you okay with that? I mean, like, I feel like there are more stages overall in this game than there were in the original. So it's like having, is it necessary to replay these levels over and over again the way that they have it, or does it feel a little too grindy to you?
The request feature that they had where they say like, hey, by the way, I'm looking out for an Arbok to fall from the tree or something, like was one Pokemon do this one motion that you have to like, eke out in some way, makes it so the rest of it is so playable. I mean, it's only like every stage is about like 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. So
right.
You can go do it again to go do this one thing. And then if you miss it, that's fine. I'll try to figure something else out.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel grindy to me yet. I mean, it's, less than a week of playthrough so far, but
right.
I've been doing them over and over again.
Have any of you guys unlocked the ability to go faster yet?
No.
Yeah, I haven't either. And apparently that happens like halfway through the game. So
That's funny.
That shows about where we're all at in the game right now.
Yeah.
So
I thought I was getting close to the end of it, but I guess I'm not. I'm a JRPG fan. And
that's okay.
I'm playing, even though I have the next thing unlocked, I'll still play through the prior levels a couple of times because I want to see what's new. And I think it's a nice natural progression of it personally.
Okay, cool.
And you can go in and choose the level that you want to play the route through again as well. So you could you could have a route unlocked at level 4 and choose to play it through again at 1 if there was a specific like prior interaction that you wanted to capture.
Right. Cool. Well, that's good. Yeah. I mean, I definitely, I don't feel where I'm at in the game that it's too grindy or anything like that. I'm not minding repeating the stuff. I think that the thing that's bothering me the most about the pacing of the game is like, there's just like a lot more talking than I think needs to be in the game. Not like during, because I went into the options too, and like one of the options is like decrease the amount of talking.
Yeah.
But then it's like during the actual like adventure part of it, and I'm like, well, I'm okay with that because I don't have to like come to a halt. But then like there's just like a lot of
like the world building cutscenes.
Yeah, where it's just like the professor and his assistant, and they're just like talking for a very long time. I kind of just like want to get back into the action.
I don't even mind the professor and his assistant. It's this random Phil kid that showed up.
Oh yeah,
like
Phil's gotta go.
Phil's gotta go.
You don't need a rival in a Pokemon photography game.
That was literally my thought. I was like, I understand that you think you have this formula that has to be met. This is not a game that needs to meet it. I don't need a rival.
Yeah. Todd photographed Unrivaled, and he did completely fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I guess they wanted to bring more kids in so it wasn't awkward and it was just you and this old guy like it was in the first one. Maybe that's got something to do with it, but to show
like
that
Doc and Marty. Yeah.
Other kids around.
Yeah.
The one thing about to your point though is that like, the dialogue of this for a game that's like encourages you to go again and again and again on the same course or something is that the dialogue that it rewards you for doing those actions is the same every time. So you're
Yeah.
going to get Professor Mirror just being like, every time you unlock a new level, be like, I think you're going to see something different on this stage.
Yeah.
And it'll say the exact same phrase.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
it's 30 or something plus times of him saying
Yeah.
this thing to me.
I will, for some reason, this stuck out to me more in this game than it does in other like Japanese games, especially JRPGs. But like, it does bother me in games when like, because this game has like voice acting and every character has a voice actor, but like only some of it is actually voiced. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That just kind of bothers me. I think I'm spoiled from like Fire Emblem Three Houses. That is just like every single line is voice acted, which is awesome. And it's like, you know, and it's like, if you're gonna do the thing where like you say like one word and then the rest is just spelled out, like just go like "Brr," or something.
Yeah.
Don't be like this is it, and then don't even say this is it like in the thing at all. Like I wish they were just like "Brr," and then it would go. I don't know. It's either one or the other for me.
It's
That's
like what Rare did with on the N64 days for Banjo Kazooie, where they're like, yeah, let's see that. Let's just like pick one, go full, full voice acting or not.
I would have liked if the whole thing was voice acted, because it's just nice to also play a Pokemon game that has voice acting at all.
I was just gonna say, listen, this is new territory for them.
Yeah.
They're dipping their toes in the voice acting. At least it's something.
Yeah, no,
point.
for sure. I asked too much.
David, to your point about all the narration, it did remind me of the worst parts of Splatoon, which are all the stuff from Pearl and Marina, where they just like talk about
Did
the
you
new
say-
stages.
Just mash A over and over.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I personally love them, so I don't mind them being.
I also love them.
Sometimes I
but
just want to fire up the game and start. Yeah.
Exactly. I just want to battle.
Especially if I haven't played it for a few months. It's like, there are 20 new stages, and here I'm going to list every single one of them. It's like, God damn it.
Oh,
Anyway, I do like Pearl and Marina. Don't get me wrong. I'm a Pearl and Marina stan. Anyway, let's move on to some other stuff about this game. Some stuff that's working. Visuals are incredible, right? This is a beautiful game. It's got to be one of the best looking games on the Switch. Am I wrong?
On the Switch,
No, is the
best looking
answer.
game for Pokemon. Again, everyone was so upset about Sword and Shield graphics, and then they just totally blew us out the water. I think it's such a signal for what Pokemon company's trying to do right now.
Yeah. I mean, it certainly looks better than what they showed of Legends Arceus already, right? But I mean, that's also very early in development, and this is also like an on-rails shooter, right? They don't have to.
Right, it's a
They don't have to
scripted.
render an open world.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? But yeah, I mean, this makes me want to see Bandai Namco do way more Pokemon stuff, right?
Yeah. But I do like the audio design too. I'm thinking I might need to start playing it with headphones, because there will be sounds that like are speaker specific to indicate like that something is happening like behind you or in a certain direction of you. Like that Arbok falling out of the tree. Oh crap, I missed it. Because I heard it happen behind me. But I like it because I can, like recognizing different Pokemon's cries. I like that a lot of the Pokemon sound more realistic in this game too.
Yeah.
Like the cries are a lot more like, animal sounding.
They're not just saying their names.
Yeah. Well, that's an anime specific thing. We're not going to get into the whole differences in the verses. Sorry.
Sure. That's fair.
But yeah, like the audio design is really nice too.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's something I actually noticed when I was streaming the game on Twitch, was like, oh shit, I hear a Pokemon that way. You know what I mean? And then I knew to turn, and then I caught something because of those audio cues. So that's definitely really nice. I really like the variety of the biomes. I think just, going back to the visuals, I think that's a great showcase for just all the, it's a very colorful game. It's also, again, not to just bash on a game that hasn't come out more, but a big complaint about Legends Arceus was, and Sword and Shield, right? Was that like a lot of the animations were all very samey. They were just bouncing or kind of like, pouncing forward the same way. And in this one, it's like they really put a lot of time and energy into how each Pokemon actually like feels, like how they would behave. Their animations are all very unique. And there's like over 200 in this game, and they all feel like very fleshed out. Yeah, very good looking game.
Yeah, I feel like that it speaks to the critical mass of Pokemon, which is something that people have been talking about for years at this point. But 200 animations is still a quarter of 800 plus animations.
Yeah.
And so at a certain point, they can just, for the people that want to talk about the national decks or how they want to have every Pokemon on this or anything, sure. But to refine it and to have something special of each individual Pokemon they choose to include is not too bad.
Yeah, it's really nice. I'd probably take that to
Yeah.
something that's a little more milquetoast for every Pokemon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Although that having been said, they could just have a team working on animations for all of these Pokemon that they just grab from for every game, right? I mean, that's basically what they do with Pokemon Go, right? It's like the up-res versions of the 3DS models, right?
Yeah, I'm making a lot of excuses for a company that's like the biggest franchise in the world. So
yeah.
they can do it.
Anyway, we won't get into the whole national decks debate. On
no, we don't. Please
long
don't.
Discussion we don't have time for.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so we talked to. No, it's okay. But yeah, so we've talked a bit about the visuals and a little bit about the audio design. Anybody else have any thoughts about kind of the sound effects, music, voice acting in this game?
Yeah, as David and Summer of you already said, play this game with headphones.
Yeah,
it's like super fun, super immersive.
Yeah, even just the ambience that's not related to individual Pokemon moving or crying or whatever is very kind of warm and inviting. And it sounds like it's not like canned either. It sounds like they probably actually recorded all this stuff, for this game, which is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, let's get into some other stuff. Let's get into like the photo editing and the sharing and kind of the social aspect of this game, because that's something that the extent of that in the original Pokemon Snap was going to Blockbuster, printing out stickers, and like giving them to your friends, right? Like now there's this whole fucking dopamine rush of getting sweet medals and trying to like one up your friends for like the funniest edits to your photos. What do you guys think about the kind of online features of this game?
I want to love it. I do wish that like searching for I wish there was a way that I could like search for photos of a certain Pokemon, or like I wish that like accessing my friend list was a little bit easier. That being said, for a Nintendo game, like online functionality, I think it's really fun. I love this component of it. And yes, they'll look like competing with friends for funny edits. And like,
yeah, it's
so funny, like posting on Twitter and then somebody being like, oh, that was your edit. Oh, we all laughed out loud. Like, I'm like, yes.
Right.
Oh, I adore it. Like that's like half the game for me is like editing my photos and posting them on the little animation thing.
The online feature for me, I was very skeptical at first because, we're all on the same tracks. We're all seeing the same animations and interactions. It's just no question of like, were you able to figure this out? But the editing component unlocks a whole new world that makes online interesting to where, okay, I'm going to make something funny. I'm going to put some googly eyes on this dude. And here we go.
Always funny.
Googly eyes on.
Always funny. 100% of the time.
It's always fun. A tried and true effort. And, it's going to give me a lot of sweet medals. So I'm going to do it time and time again.
It's like it
kind of makes them look like South Park characters when you put the eyes and mouths on.
Yeah. You got your fart jokes. You got two kids in a coat, in a big trench coat, and then you got googly eyes.
Yeah,
solid
exactly.
across the board.
Tried and true. I agree with you, Summer, that it is a little undercooked, right? Like it's definitely great that it's there, the online functionality and stuff like that. But if I'm not mistaken, the only way to search for stuff is either go to people's individual profiles and just click on them, or it's like the trending, the course of the day and stuff that's recommended, right? It's just whatever's on that right side of the screen whenever you go into the online component. Yeah, like there should definitely be a better overall browsing feature, right?
Right.
I'd love to see that maybe come down the line, especially if they do DLC or something like that. That would be something that could really be fleshed out.
Yeah. But now I'm just thinking about how I'm going to make sure that I'm saving my favorite photos actually to my system, and then maybe like taking my SD card with me to Walmart so I can still actually print them out.
That's right. So, all right. So that's something we haven't talked about on the show is that Instax printer. Which has the Pikachu shell. Yeah. Is that something that interests you guys? That's kind of definitely harkens back to that original Pokemon Snap.
I want it.
Yeah. It does look
but
cool.
I wouldn't just use it for Pokemon Snap. I saw a tweet that was like, do you understand that you could use this to commemorate someone losing to you in Smash and taking the photo and printing it out and literally handing them their L.
Yeah.
And I want that. I want that.
Yeah, it's so definitely cute. Pretty cool. I mean, I've got like a dummy Twitter account that I just upload screenshots to anyway. So it's not like you can't print screenshots from your Switch. You know what I mean? It's just, I guess there's something to be said about the kind of Polaroid aspect of it, right?
David, I would like you to send me all of the 200 accidental screenshots that we took on your Switch at one of our first meetups. So send it to me so I can print it and give it to you.
What game were we playing? Do you remember? Oh, I think it might have been Smash.
I'm pretty sure it was Smash. And I think Patrick or someone else was just smashing the camera button.
That happens. For some reason, people that aren't me love smashing the screenshot button on it.
It's funny, man.
On my Switch. And then one time, one of my friends was just like, and like hit it over and over again. And I just ran out of space on my Switch. I was like, dude, please stop.
That's funny. That's like the equivalent of taking someo's phone and taking a bunch of selfies with it, right?
Yeah.
You take a bunch of screenshots.
But at least there you're like moving around and like making faces and shit. That's fun. Definitely, yeah. I think they could flesh it out a little bit more, but it is nice. I will say, like beforehand, before this game came out, I was like, is there really a need for this? Because we've got Twitter. People can share screenshots whenever they want. I'm sure that, people are going to be sharing stuff online anyway. Do we really need it? But I think having it in game is actually really, really nice and adds to the just enjoyment and kind of, again, that Zen thing. It's like when I was streaming this game, a lot of what I was, not that I have like tons of I just started streaming on Twitch, so I don't have like that many people watching my streams, but it's like, something that I was just doing when I was streaming was just like editing photos like on stream or Jordan Willis, if you're listening, Jordan was watching me stream and I'm like naming the photo. He'd be like, all right, hell yeah, typing stream. And it would just be like long periods of me like trying to get the perfect like caption in the 28 character limit or whatever. And it was like, I think it was captivating stuff on stream personally. But yeah, it's very zen. I really enjoy that aspect of it for sure. Yeah. I mean, any other thoughts about the online functionality in this game?
No, I mean, what we've learned from Mario Party is something new can come 2.5 years later. So we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean,
yeah, that's a good point. Y'all think we'll see DLC, either more Pokemon and more stages?
That was my next question. Yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, I think we'll see it for sure. I mean, again, this is Bandai Namco who did this. They got this gig because they did such a good job with Pokken Tournament, and that game had DLC as well. I imagine that this would be decently. I mean, we said the same thing about Odyssey. It's like, oh, it's easy, you just add new kingdoms or whatever, right? But I think on this one, you just add new areas, new biomes to explore, have all new Pokemon in each one. Would you guys purchase a DLC?
I guess it depends how much it is.
Right.
Everyone took a deep breath.
Like if I like a game, I'm a chronic DLC buyer. On Smash, I'm just buying all the characters and playing around with it. I got Isle of Armor, even though it was awful, but Crown Tundra was pretty good.
Right.
So I mean, I'll do it. I think it
begrudgingly so, maybe. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I gotta know, and we'll find out. I'll put my $20 to a good cause and figure it out for y'all.
Definitely seems like this game could have free DLC, but I imagine they'll probably make it paid if they do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, how about some closing thoughts? Let's move on from that dark topic of giving Nintendo even more of our money that they don't deserve. Just closing thoughts about this game. I think we've covered a pretty good bit of ground. Is there anything that I kind of forgot? I mean, there's a lot more to this game that we haven't really discussed, kind of your own album versus the photo decks and stuff of that nature. But is there anything else that kind of stands out to you about this game other than what we've talked about already?
I like this game, but it's a hard sell at $60.
Yeah.
I think that's one, if I had one thing to say about it, it would be the price. Feels like maybe a $40 game just for its length. But it's also a Pokemon franchise, so they can put whatever dollar amount that they want, and we'll still buy it. So
Summer, I saw you make a face to that. Do you disagree?
No, I don't disagree. That was more of an agreement of like, I guess it was like an acceptance face of like,
Right.
yeah, it is a good amount of money and I love Pokemon. And the fact that it is like a totally new game, like got me on it. You know, we haven't had a Snap game in, like you said, 20 years. So,
right. I don't know. For me, I haven't felt like, you know, I haven't gotten that far in the game, probably as far as I should be at this point. I've been, you know, playing some other games as well, but you know, I mean, for me, the game is still like pretty unique, you know, like, and like you said, you know, it's been so long since there's been one that it's like, it kind of feels like it's almost like worth it more to like spend the money on such a unique gameplay experience that you don't really get outside of Pokemon Snap. I mean, yeah, you could say it's an on-rail shooter / puzzler game, whatever genre you want to pigeonhole it into, but it's still like there's not anything out there like Pokemon Snap, other than, you know, we've talked about Umurangi Generation on this podcast before. It's like an indie version,
right?
But it's like I just think like just as far as like game feel and how I feel playing the game, it's like no other game that I really know of like gives me this feeling, and so for me, I feel like it was worth the $60 personally.
It's the classic, you know, gambit of Pokemon where I feel they operate at a lower bar for me than any other game company, where you know, I'm applauding any innovation they ever do or they ever think about, but like, I mean, for the most part, I think that they really capitalized on it and they innovated for theirselves way more than they typically do. And I would think of how could you make Snap different? How could you modernize Snap? I think they did it in spades.
Yeah.
I'm excited for what this means for Legends Arceus. We'll see, but I feel like this is turning a new leaf in Pokemon in a way that Sword and Shield tried to do. You know, let's go Eevee, let's go Pikachu tried to do, but we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely very happy with, you know, the Pokemon Company doling out their franchises to other developers and not just relying on Game Freak these days. You know what I mean? I think, you know, I think it's great that Game Freak is doing Pokemon Legends, and that they themselves are trying to shake up the formula, right? But I think, you know, the fact that Brilliant Diamond and whatever those were, BDSM, I know is the or something like that. I think that those are. I just think it's good that they're giving them out to other people. I think that like Game Freak has too much on their plate and they end up making stuff really samey. So when they can focus on innovating within their own games, I think it really works in their favor. And I think, yeah, like I said before, I'd love to see Bandai Namco do even more in the Pokemon franchise. And yeah, and I don't know, maybe we'll see a sequel sooner than 22 years from now.
Or just other different kinds of games, you know? I think that this specific rendition of Snap, like maybe we won't need a sequel. Maybe they do dole out some DLC and they'll continue to make other kinds of Pokemon games that aren't just the classic formula.
Oh yeah.
Or even, God, I'd like to see DLC for Pokken even. Like, I'm personally liked that one too. So
yeah. They did a great job. Maybe they'll do one where you shoot music videos starring Pokemon or something.
Well, so that was part of Pokemon Black and White. So maybe if we just
yeah, they'll just expand that into a full game.
Meanwhile, I'm over here like, oh, so we're getting our Gen 4 remakes. So the Gen 5 remakes will be next, which means we get to make music videos and movies again.
Matt, did you have any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I think what y'all are alluding to, how does this affect Nintendo's relationship with Bandai Namco? And what are they going to do with the franchise in the future? And it makes sense. Pokken 2 makes sense. That would be cool. I would love to see another Pokemon fighting game, either on the Switch or coming straight to the arcades. Yeah.
Bandai Namco, man. They're like Nintendo's BFF right now. You know, with Smash and now Pokemon Snap. They tried to do Metroid Prime 4. Didn't really work out. End up canceling their version. But it's like still, I think it shows Nintendo has a really good relationship with them. And I'd love to see them take on more Nintendo IP in the future as well. Anyway, I think we should probably wrap it up. This has been the discussion on Pokemon Snap. We'll go ahead and take another short break, and we'll come right back and talk about all the games that we have been playing recently. Since Patrick is not here and he always goes first, I'm going to let somebody else go first. Who wants to go first this time?
I'll go first.
Very good.
I've been playing. I mentioned earlier in the episode, Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Played that for the very first time. God damn, that's such a good game.
Excellent game.
It's excellent. It's just so smooth. The platforming is so good. The music and storytelling is simple enough, and it's like so. The movement in that game is so smooth. It makes you feel so strong as you progress and earn new abilities. And I played it using on Series X in high frame rate at 120 hertz. And it's just a beautiful game.
Yeah.
I had a great time playing Ori. Have you all played Ori?
I have.
It's on my docket because it's on Game Pass. I've downloaded it.
Yeah, on your new gaming PC.
Yes, my new gaming PC.
Very nice. Yeah, I mean, I played. I haven't beaten Will of the Wisps, but I did recently beat Blind Forest, and then I started Will of the Wisps. I'll pick it back up again at some point soon. But it does Blind Forest is a great game, but Will of the Wisps improves upon it in every way.
Yeah, it's 100 times better, and 3 times larger, and the story is 2 times sadder.
Yeah.
But also
That's
great.
what I'm looking for, man.
Yeah.
Anything else you've been playing?
That's the primary game I've been playing, other than just the normal Pokemon Snap.
Yeah. Very good. And Halo, and jumping back and forth and giving yourself an aneurysm
all day. You know it.
I'll go next. I mean, obviously been playing Pokemon Snap and really enjoying that quite a bit. It was very fun to play on stream. I really encourage if you're going to be streaming to play that game, because I think you can get some cool interaction with people that are watching while you're doing it. Other than that, played also on stream, played some Paperball Deluxe. I finally beat a level that I tried to beat 100 times in a row and kept failing, and I beat it, and that made me feel really good. And then I got stuck on another level for 100 times, so now I'm just I might not play that game for a while. I actually fired up my Wii U to play some old GameCube games. I have my virtual Wii modded on my GameCube. We were talking about that on the Discord a little bit. So I was playing a little bit of Super Monkey Ball and F-Zero GX, both great amusement vision games. I'm looking forward to playing more of that because I just love those GameCube games. They're fantastic. And then I went over to my buddy Jeremy's house, who's been on the show a few times, talked about that. He was playing Returnal on the PS5. I didn't try out Returnal, but it did look like a lot of fun. What I did try out though is Poor Man's Returnal, or Risk of Rain 2. For the first time, I picked this game up. It was $10 on the eShop. It's the first time it's kind of dipped to this point. It was $9 or something like that. And I've been meaning to try it out for a long time because I really enjoyed the first Risk of Rain. And it was just so funny. I was sitting on his couch, in handheld mode, playing Risk of Rain 2, and he was on his PS5 on the TV playing Returnal. I was like, these games really are pretty similar. They're both roguelikes, both third-person shooters, both just have a bunch of people shooting at you constantly. But yeah, it's a really fun game. At first I was like, this shit is too fucking hard and I'm not having fun, and the graphics kind of suck, and I was like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. But then you get your first power-up that makes you a lot better, and then immediately you're starting to kill people where you were just dying instantly before, and then just immediately the kind of roguelike hook got its teeths in me. That's the plural of tooth. But that's what I've been doing. What about you guys? Let's go with Ryan. What have you been playing this past week?
So I've been, other than Snap, kind of just been in my cycle of where I don't have a game and kind of just moving through Smash, Rocket League, returning to Breath of the Wild, all these things. That being said, I did pick up Monster Hunter Rise.
Nice.
Really enjoyed it for the most part. I think that the monster hunting element is kind of grindy in terms of it takes about 30 minutes or so of doing the same act. Maybe it's just my weapon, because I get the hammer, there's only so much you can do. But, I'm just doing the spinny hammer attack on a monster for 30 minutes to kill it. But the customization's awesome. I'm really enjoying that game. I think that's all I can do with it.
Nice.
That's
Very
about
good.
it, though.
Summer, what about you?
Yeah. I have been playing a decent amount of Pac-Man 99 still. It still really vibes for me. I like more than the other battle royales did. And I am also playing through Final Fantasy 9 right now.
Oh, cool.
It's my first time playing that one. I missed it because I think I might have been, I don't know. I missed it. So
That's my favorite Final Fantasy, I think.
So it's the favorite of a lot of people that I know. So because of that, I'm like, okay, I really need to make sure that I play this one since so many people that I know really like this one. Yeah. And I'm really...
Are you playing it on the Switch? Or?
Yeah, I'm playing it on the Switch. So I got it. And I really like being able to play it on the Switch. I love that all of these Final Fantasy titles are in a portable fashion other than the phone. I can't do those kinds of games on the phone. No, and I am really liking it so far. I thought I wasn't liking it at first because I started it like a year ago. And then I decided to pick it back up because I saw that some other people that I know are playing through it. And I think I was like right before it got good, I think was when I stopped playing it. And I'm really enjoying it. The story really picked up. So
yeah, the characters, I think there's just like a point where you really get into the characters and they just start to become very personable. Yeah. Awesome. Well, there you go. That's going to do it for the show. That's what we've been playing. That's going to do it for the show.
We did it, Patrick.
Thank you.
We got through a fucking whole episode without you.
Are you proud, Patrick, or are you pissed that we did this without you? We'll
proud or pissed? Let us know in the comments which one is Patrick.
Post a 1 in the chat for proud, 2 in the chat for pissed. That's going to do it for our show on New Pokemon Snap, though. Again, thank you so much to Ryan and Summer for coming on. It was a delight to have you on. We could talk about Pokemon for hours with you, too, so it's always nice to have you on to talk about this franchise. Oh, yeah, very good. Let's once again thank MilkyWay.co for doing our website. Thanks to Corduroy, who does our music. If you'd like to find me online, I'm pretty much ever on the internet at Monolith Fiji.
Hey, you can find me on Twitter, Matthew, MATHYOU.
And what about you guys?
You can find me on Twitter at Ryan Upchurch without the A, so just RYN Upchurch. I mean, that's pretty much it for all my platforms. Or Psyduck Man on Switch.
That's right, Psyduck Man.
Oh. And I am Weebwitched, WEEBWITCHED on Twitter. That's pretty much where I am.
That's great. You should also do a little plug. You did a great show recently. That was on YouTube, right?
Oh yeah. So I I work for OU, and part of that I was able to be a part of their digital drag performance, Crimson and Queens. They like to tout that it's the biggest drag show in Oklahoma. It went digital this year, so they got a whole production crew in. You can find that on YouTube if you search OU's Crimson and Queens. You can find me time-stamped in the description, Summer Rain. I did a bit as Mettaton from Undertale, if you're into that. So
that's right. Yeah. Very high production value on that video. Yes. And a great performance from you as well. So check that out if you have the chance. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That's the show. You can stop listening now, but I'm still going to say shit because that's how we do it every episode. We'll be back next week with another excellent episode. Not going to tell you what it is, but I'm actually really excited for next week's topic. We got an excellent guest lined up and a very thought-provoking topic indeed. Not that Pokemon Snap isn't thought-provoking. I'm very intellectually fulfilled after today's episode.
We're losing it, Patrick. We need you.
Yeah. I'm not good at hosting. Anyway, you can find our show on social media at Switch Headz on Twitter, at Super Switch Headz on Instagram and Facebook. You can also always remember to join our Discord, which is a bustling community, and our Facebook group, which kind of acts as the forum for our show. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you guys next week. We love you very much. Wear a mask and if you're not vaccinated already, what are you waiting for? It's easy. Just Google it now. Our Vax cup overfloweth. Anybody can get one. We have too many, in fact. So get them. Don't be one of these people that doesn't get them. That's dumb. We all need to get herd immunity. We love you guys very much. We'll see you next week. Get off the soapbox, David. Bye-bye.